as we open up, we'll get an increase in cases that will bring a few more people into hospital and a few more people into ICU. So I think we're, as you say, on a somewhat stable trend at the moment.
Tonight, breaking news: Europe facing a deadly resurgence of COVID-19 with cases reaching near record highs and hospitalisations doubling. We'll explain why this is happening amid fears that 500,000 people could die in the next 3 months. It's Sunday the 7th of November. You're watching 60 News also tonight. Almost one child a week fined for breaching rules about face masks in Victoria, according to new reports. But are kids as young as 10 really being forced to pay up? We'll fact check the claims as authorities have their say. And new details tonight about Cleo Smith's alleged abductor are revealed as the world reacts to the 4-year-old amazingly being found alive after being missing for over 2 weeks. And what an incredible story that is. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Later this hour, Pfizer says that their new pill could reduce hospitalisations and deaths of COVID-19 by nearly 90% amid even more debate over vaccine mandates in the US, with President Joe Biden setting new rules for businesses. But first tonight, from the start, it was hailed as the way out, and for months there's been ample supply and ample opportunity to get the vaccine. So why does Europe find itself facing a deadly resurgence of the disease? Cases there have reached near record highs, and in the past week, hospitalisations have doubled. The WHO says Europe is once again the epicentre of the pandemic, warning 500,000 people could die in the next 3 months alone. In an exclusive explainer, Chief Reporter Conor 4K examines the numbers and the reasons why cases, hospitalisations and deaths are trending upwards. And tonight we've also got a look at how the reopening has impacted COVID metrics in New South Wales and Victoria.
Since August, COVID cases and deaths have been declining or stabilising everywhere. Europe is bucking that trend. Cases have risen 55% in the past 4 weeks, and hospitalisations have doubled in the past week alone.
We are at another critical point of pandemic resurgence. Europe is back at the epicenter of the pandemic, where we were 1 year ago.
Germany and Greece recently recorded their highest ever daily case tallies. The WHO says the surge in Europe is a grave concern and forecasts a dark winter for what it now calls the epicenter of the pandemic. 500,000 people dead in the next 3 months. 18 months into the pandemic, it seems little has changed. We have a vaccine. For months it's been available, supply ample, but outstripping demand. The European Union boasts a vaccination rate of nearly 80%, but coverage is uneven country to country. Russia and Romania both have a vaccination rate of less than 40%. Bulgaria has the lowest vaccination rate of the EU, 21.8%. But here's the twist: even in places with high vaccination rates like the UK, there is concern. After starting its rollout earlier than the rest of the world, immunity in the UK is waning. Booster shots are needed, but enthusiasm for the vaccine is thought to have diminished. Across the board, there's vaccination stagnation, but vaccine defiance is greatest in Central and Eastern Europe. Latvia is in lockdown. Poland, with a vaccination rate of just 51.8%, is now selling unwanted doses. Experts say such skepticism may have its roots in the 20th century. The communist rule of the Soviet Union is thought to have eroded trust in state institutions and left healthcare systems underdeveloped. Poor vaccination coverage, though, hasn't stopped the lifting of restrictions. It's premature, deadly, and squarely to blame for the Delta surge, the WHO says. So could or is this happening here following the reopening of virus-plagued New South Wales and Victoria? In New South Wales, since mid-September, cases and hospitalisations have been in steady decline. This trend has continued despite reopening for the fully vaccinated a month ago. For the past week, cases have been sitting around as low as 135 and as high as 308. The state is just shy of the 90% double-dose target. In Victoria, cases are considerably higher and prone to greater fluctuation. Last week on Monday, there was nearly 1,500. On Tuesday, 989 were recorded. Ups and downs are expected. The overall trend, though, is said to be stable.
As we open up, we'll get an increase in cases that will bring a few more people into hospital and a few more people into ICU. So I think we're, as you say, on a somewhat stable trend at the moment.
The emphasis has shifted from cases to hospitalisations as the key COVID metric, but the Age reports that there are more patients in ICU than previously thought, with dozens left out of state figures. That would mean hospital admissions have only started falling slightly in recent days. Meanwhile, Australia has reached the much romanticised 80% vaccination target over the weekend. And on the macro level, 51% of the global population is now fully vaccinated.
Well, the Northern Territory's tonight wrapping up a weekend of restrictions in some places. In a late-night press conference on Thursday evening, Chief Minister Michael Gunner announced stay-at-home orders in the Katherine region and a so-called lockout for Greater Darwin, the first of its kind in the NT. Now, that meant unvaccinated people would be subject to all the lockdown rules, but fully vaccinated people would not be, amid concerns for the Territory's remote Indigenous population when it comes to COVID potentially getting into their communities. This was, in fact, the first ever community case in the NT, all other local infections coming from interstate prior to this one. And returning to New South Wales and Victoria, police have charged several people with breaches of isolation rules in the Albury-Wodonga region. The border has officially reopened for fully vaccinated people after 18 months of opening and closing due to outbreaks in both states, obviously affecting many small businesses even with that border bubble in place. Authorities say one man will appear before the Albury local court later this month after they claimed he was in possession of a fake COVID vaccine passport while allegedly breaching isolation to sell drugs. The ABC were also reporting there were two other examples of COVID positive people, one receiving a penalty notice after being found walking around during the early hours of the morning during his isolation period, another intercepted by police for allegedly driving while intoxicated. Several cases have popped up in the border region recently, and authorities are asking people to monitor for any symptoms. And while we're on the subject of vaccine passports, it's actually worth noting Instagram was recently displaying an ad promoting counterfeit certificates following inquiries to Facebook, Instagram's parent company, from The Guardian. The account behind the ads was removed. Or should that be Meta? Actually, yeah, it's probably Meta. Of course, we'd always love to hear your say. Do you support vaccine passports? Join the conversation by using hashtag 6NewsAU in the comments section and when sharing the link to this story on social media. Or, of course, email your feedback to us, contact@6newsau.com. Well, almost one child a week is being fined for breaching mandatory face mask rules in Victoria, according to a new report. But it's not as simple as that. Now, you may have seen claims that kids as young as 10 are being fined, but is that actually true? Authorities are now having their say, as people on social media do too. Reporter Lincoln Holmes fact-checks the situation from Melbourne.
It's a message we've been hearing since the start of the pandemic.
Wear a mask. It's not too much to ask.
But even in November 2021, face masks are still a divisive topic, especially in Victoria. Right now, there's growing anger from some after it was revealed that almost one child a week has been slapped with a face mask fine in the state of Victoria. According to News Corp, 29 infringement notices were given to those between the ages of 10 and 14 years old in the 12 months to June this year, but an age-by-age breakdown was not provided. The report from news.com says police issued the fines in public places including streets, footpaths and train stations, where masks were mandatory. Others on social media say kids as young as 10 have been forced to pay up, but is that really the case? Victoria Police says no. In a response to the Australian Sophie Ellsworth, police said that their policy on infringement notices, regardless of what they are for, are not issued to anyone under the age of 14 years old. However, they also say that anyone under the age of 18 can be fined for failing to comply with the directions of the Chief Health Officer, Brett Sutton. The state government website said that anyone aged 12 years and over must wear a fitted face mask indoors, and they are also required for students grade 3 and above when inside school buildings. It comes after thousands protested outside the State Library and Parliament yesterday afternoon. protest was about mandatory vaccine and a proposed pandemic bill, and it is the second week in a row that the protests have occurred. Lincoln Holmes, 6 News.
And don't forget, if you see something you want fact-checked, look over, no matter what site it's on. Tag or DM us on social media at 6newsau or email us contact@6newsau.com. And you can also check out our new look fact-check section on our website. It's really got a lot there already, 6newsau.com. Moving away from the pandemic now, it's been confirmed the Bert Newton State funeral will be able to be viewed by the public via a live stream on the Victorian Government website. St Patrick's Cathedral in Melbourne has been chosen as the location for the TV legend's farewell, who passed away just over a week ago at the age of 83. Channel 9 reports the service will begin at 10 a.m. local time, that's Eastern Daylight Time, and is expected to run for 90 minutes. Multiple people have been killed after flash flooding hit Indonesia's main island of Java. Floodwaters have inundated at least 5 townships, and the rains are set to continue due to a La Nina weather pattern. Authorities have moved people in affected areas to government shelters, with relief efforts heavily affected by blocked roads that were covered with debris. The ABC reporting tonight that other parts of the country have seen heavy rain, but to a lesser extent than Java. Actor George Clooney has issued an open letter addressed to the Daily Mail and other publications, asking them not to publish photos that show his children's faces. The star says that those images put his 2 kids in danger, mainly due to the work of his wife, Amal, who she is a human rights lawyer. Okay, so basically, she puts terrorist groups on trial, as noted by Clooney there. He also said that he decided to write the letter after seeing photos of a fellow Hollywood star, Billy Lord's 1-year-old daughter, published online. Clooney goes on to say in the open letter, which was published online, quote, "We have never sold a picture of our kids. We are not on social media, and we never post pictures because to do so would put their lives in jeopardy, not paranoid jeopardy, but real-world issues with real-world consequences. We hope that you would agree that the need to sell advertisements isn't greater than the need to keep innocent children from being targeted." Pfizer says its experimental pill for COVID-19 cuts rates of hospitalisation and death by nearly 90%. Researchers worldwide have been racing to find a pill against the virus that eases symptoms, speeds up the recovery process, and can even be taken at home. And it comes amid even more debate over vaccine mandates in the US, with President Joe Biden setting new rules for businesses. US correspondent Jackson Gosnell has the latest.
Leo, there is a lot happening here in the U.S. 2 big stories that we're working on right now. One of them coming in within the last couple of hours, where a U.S. federal appeals court froze President Biden's vaccine rule for companies. That rule states that staff at businesses with 100 or more employees have to either be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 or submit to weekly testing. If they choose the testing option, they would have to wear a mask while working. Now, we know that OSHA, which is the agency responsible for issuing this after President Biden directed them to, said that it is constitutional and they plan on it to be enacted. However, this Fifth Circuit ruling comes after several Republican-led states filed lawsuits against the new rule, which is set to take effect January the 4th. We know that this was brought up on grounds that it is overreach. According to those who had filed this, they believe it is overreach. We do know that this is being cited as grave statutory and constitutional issues related to this rule, so that is why it is being heard. We do not yet know exactly what will happen with this, whether that be that the rule will stay into effect or whether courts will actually strike it down. But a lot of business owners are upset that they would have to do this, at least from what I have seen. They say that they want to continue to have their staff, especially during these challenging times coming up on the holiday season, and they don't want to demand their staff have to do these things if they don't have to, because they may lose some people. On the opposite end of that spectrum, there are people for this, because there are COVID deaths happening every day in this country, and the vaccine can save lives according to data that is put out by the CDC. So that is why, obviously, there are two very differing ends of this spectrum. One saying mandate it, the other one saying to allow people to choose. So we will keep an eye on that story and continue to keep you updated. The other big story is a new pill to treat COVID-19. Pfizer, that's the company that produces one of the 3 approved vaccines here in the U.S., has a new antiviral pill for COVID-19 that cuts hospital and death risk by 89%, according to the company. They announced all of this on Friday, and they are trying to join the race in getting out fast treatments that can treat COVID-19. Currently, all treatments require an IV or injection. However, this is one of 2 pills. There's another one by drug producer Merck that can actually, stop some of the effects of COVID-19, according to the companies. So a pill to treat COVID-19 could be coming soon from Pfizer, as well as Merck. They've already applied for authorization. However, Pfizer has yet to do so. And the other story about those vaccine and testing mandates. I'll continue to follow the very latest from here in the U.S. I'm Jackson Gosnell. Back to you.
It's been revealed that a Russian diplomat was found dead outside the country's embassy in Berlin last month. The BBC reports the man's body was discovered on the pavement by police guarding the building in Germany's capital after apparently falling from an upper floor. Russia's embassy said what happened was a quote-unquote tragic accident. The incident happened on October 19 but has only just been reported. Greta Thunberg has labelled COP26 a failure and branded it as a global North greenwash festival in another youth-led rally. Activists brought a 4-ton iceberg to Glasgow to highlight climate change's effects in the Arctic, with thousands, many of them teenagers, demanding more action from world leaders.
A 2-week-long celebration of business as usual and blah, blah, blah. Facts do not lie, and we know that our emperors are naked. To stay below the targets set in the Paris Agreement and thereby minimizing the risks of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control, we need immediate, drastic, annual emission cuts unlike anything the world has ever seen.
Alok Sharma, the president of those climate talks, has said the summit needed to secure more ambitious commitments amid debate, including here at home, about how effective net zero by 2050 actually is. In case you missed it, by the way, Lego has issued a handbook for kids about how to deal with the climate crisis. There it is now, with step-by-step instructions, just like in their regular booklets, on what to do. Well, back home now, and it was the news the whole country was hoping for, and tonight we're learning more details about Cleo Smith's alleged abductor. Terence Darrell Kelly's the man charged. His social media account featuring a collection of dolls and even a fake family. And it comes as media outlets here at home face some criticism about how they've covered the story, as the incredible development headlines bulletins from global outlets. Senior reporter Darby Travers has more.
Well, 5 days since Cleo Smith was found alive and well, we are learning new details about the 4-year-old's alleged abductor. Terence Darrell Kelly has been charged by WA Police, the ABC reporting that his social media account features dolls and even a fake family, with one image showing an entire room full of dolls. Authorities say they found little Cleo in a physically good health, sitting inside of a bedroom in Kelly's house while playing with toys before then being taken away by officers. The incredible development has been in the headlines here at home for days now, and even overseas as well.
Police found her alive and well after breaking into the home of a 36-year-old man.
The rescue, which officials describe as the result of a hard police grind involving 140 police officers, is now being celebrated across the country.
However, some have criticised the media for how they have covered it, with dozens of reporters on the ground in the small WA town, filming and photographing both Mr. Kelly and the family. Yesterday, mother Ali Smith and stepfather Jake Gilden released a statement that said in part, quote, "We are so thankful that our little girl is back within our arms and the family is whole again. As we try to get on with our lives, we do ask that you respect our privacy."
What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments section below by using the hashtag 6newsau or email contact@6newsau.com.
And in a moment, we'll be crossing to Ivan and Sarah, who will have no doubt more on this story. But to sport now, and the fallout is continuing after English cricket club Yorkshire was suspended from hosting international matches over its handling of a racism case. The club has been slammed by the England and Wales Cricket Board for its, quote, unacceptable response to racism faced by former player Azim Rafiq, who says he was made to feel like an outsider during his time there because of his Muslim faith, and that he had been close to taking his own life. One former English cricketer, Gary Balance, even admitted to using a racial slur against Rafiq when they were teammates, but claimed it was a situation where best friends said offensive things to each other. And of course, if you're anyone you know needs help, please contact Lifeline at 13 11 14. And meanwhile, the AFL world is in mourning after the death of Port Adelaide great Russell Ebert. Ebert played 392 games for the Power and was regarded as one of South Australia's best ever footballers. After retiring, he coached Port for 116 games and was an inaugural inductee into both the South Australian Football Hall of Fame and the Australian Football Hall of Fame. He was diagnosed with leukemia in December last year. He was 72. And now here's Ivan and Sarah with Look What's Coming Up later tonight on WAMN News.
Thanks, Leo. Tonight on a special edition of WAMN News, back in her parents' arms. Cleo Smith home safe and sound as her alleged abductors taken to Perth to face justice.
Also tonight, an abduction victim calls for harsher sentencing for future convicted kidnappers. A WAMN News exclusive.
And a psychologist weighs in on what the long road of recovery will look like for Cleo Smith and her family, plus Dr. Andrew Miller's COVID comment.
Join us tonight on the WAMN News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Hi, thanks both Ivan and Sarah there. Now to tomorrow's forecast right across the country. Brisbane, light rain, a top of 29, likely showers and 22 degrees in Sydney, 23 in Canberra, 17 and partly cloudy in Melbourne, also getting up to 17 degrees in Hobart, 19 in Adelaide, thunderstorms and 25 in Central Australia, Alice Springs to be precise, 25 in Perth as well, and in Darwin, a warm top of 33. And just quickly, just another reminder to check out the new look 6newsau.com, where we've got plenty of articles, including stories you won't actually see here on YouTube. Now, there's plenty more details on the COVID situation in the NT, a report on Cleo Smith published just 15 minutes after she was found alive, and one story on a Liberal Party candidate who claimed a stock photo was of a local couple. So check that out right now. And that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. You can stay up to date with the latest headlines by heading to our website, 6newsau.com. I think I've said that a few times now. And by following us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok and Lit. Just search 6 News AU to find us. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.